What is up, guys, and welcome to a very special episode of the Mitch Does Coffee YouTube channel. This is the Sanremo X1 coffee grinder. Now, as per usual, Sanremo have stepped things up, gone into the future, and found some features that we just never thought we'd see in our lifetime. So not only do we have dual hoppers on top, which can be controlled in many different ways if you want to run espresso on one side, filter on the other, which we'll go through the features in just a moment, but you also do have a bypass drawer at the front here. So if you want to do some single dosing, you want to run your house blend, you want to run a single origin, you want to do whatever you want, this grinder will do absolutely everything and replace all three grinders on your bar. Now, if we're comparing the X1 to an EK, which is a fair comparison as most people are quite familiar with it and most specialty cafes will have one. Now, the X1 has a 1650 watt motor inside, which is 350 more than the EK. The 98mm burrs inside the X1 are rated up to 10,000 kilos. That's right, 10 ton, where a Malconic EK is only designed for 2 ton. So I'm gonna pop around the front here. We're gonna do a bit of a walk through the X1, and I'm gonna show you guys why this could be the right grinder for you. So as I was saying earlier, we've got 2 separate hoppers on the top here. Now what I've got over here is an Ethiopia Guji, which is for an espresso, and I've actually put in a Colombia, which is more of a filter-like coffee. Then at the top here, we do have a single dose drawer, so you can grind up to 250 grams at a time if you would like to do a bag of coffee for your customers, or of course you can do your single dosing if you have something other than one of these 2 coffees on offer. Now, as you can see, the grinder is controlled by this giant touchscreen on the front. This side is of course the left-hand side hopper, which I've got the Ethiopia Guji, and then this side is the filter Colombia. And then in the middle here, we do have for the drawer that's at the top, and I'm gonna run you through just one side on the left here, just to give you guys a quick rundown on what I would do if I wanna change something, or if I do wanna pull a shot. So firstly, if we're working on the fly and we do want to adjust how much coffee we're using, it's as simple as either hitting the plus or minus, or of course you can use the fast bar there. We're going to leave it at 21.5, head back in there. If we do want to change our grind size, this is all done in microns, so you don't have to chase the grinder as such. It will do it for you. You tell it what microns you want using the plus or minus, hit the save, and then it will save that to that profile. Of course, we can change the RPM between 1000, 1200 and 1400 RPM. We're going to stay on 1000 as, in my opinion, that's what works best for this recipe of espresso. The same thing on the right, we obviously have the same settings there, and then the microns, and as you can see, the F at the top here, as you move across, change it to the M and then to espresso. So we're going to leave this further up here, somewhere in the filter range. We go higher RPM, well, I go higher RPM for the filter coffees, especially for this one, it definitely does come out with a juicier flavor. And then if you do want to have different coffees on offer throughout the day, you can have them on board here. Let's say we want to use this Lexus, have that one there, that's ready to go, which is actually a different micron and a higher RPM. And then of course, if you want to use the single dose, we can click on the middle here, and then you have different profiles saved into the memory. So if you want to do a quick 120 espresso, you can set that, hit the button, and then it will grind. So let's grind some coffee. I've zeroed the dosing cup, as you can use in here. We're gonna pop it under. Now what it's gonna do is it's going to weigh the coffee before it grinds it. Now not only does that help with keeping volatile compounds in your coffee, as after about 1 minute, you lose a lot of those aromas in your espresso. So let's grind our coffee. So it's weighing our beans out to 21 grams exactly. It will ensure that the burrs are set to the correct microns, and then grind the coffee. "21 grams on the dot." Now that's impressive. So now we're going to grind 15 grams of filter coffee from the other hopper. Pop your dosing cup or whatever it is you want to put underneath there. It's going to weigh those 15 grams of coffee. It's going to set the burrs. Now this is going to take a little bit longer, obviously going from 180 microns all the way up to 800. It's going to take a little bit longer, but it's still going to be a lot quicker than if you were trying to do this with a single grinder. Again, overshoots and then comes back. So there may be a little bit of retention from the espresso, but I very much doubt. I typically would say it's just going to overshoot a little bit. As filter coffee, there is a bigger room for error there. But it's simple, scoop out 0.3 of a gram if you're really that worried about it, and then you can make your coffee. So now let's say you had a third coffee on offer, but you obviously don't want to empty out the hopper of the grinder. So you weigh out your beans, 15.1, and now we get to do the single dose function. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a profile here, and we're going to do it for filter. So we can set our microns to whatever we would like there. Let's just do it from memory. So we're up in the 680, and then we're going to set our RPM to 1400, as that is my preference for the coffee we're about to use. So 14, and then we're going to turn that guy on. It's going to adjust those burrs, start grinding, and we can put it into the single dose drawer. Right on 15. That's very impressive. Now this one on the left, this is from the Sanremo X1, and then over here on the right is from a Malconic EK. So you can see there is quite a bit of difference between them. There's a lot more chaff and inconsistency. Now I'm going to try to get some really good still shots from a microscope. I should have access to those, and hopefully I can pop them in here. But even to the naked eye, I can see quite a bit of difference in these. And to be honest, with the X1 there was quite a bit more aroma, which is a very good sign, especially for those filter coffees. Now, one of the very smart features Sanremo has included in this grinder is if you do want to grind a whole bag of coffee for your customer, you can of course fit 250 grams in at a time. Now, the best way to do this is the portafilter holder is easily removable. You pop out the little chute, pop your bag on, go into your settings, set it to whatever RPM and burr microns you would like, and then grind the 250 grams of beans. Now, of course, most cafes will be making coffee with a house blend or whatever it is they're serving all day. To my knowledge, most cafes are making more espresso than filter coffee, and if they're not, congratulations. You can, of course, pop your portafilter or a dosing cup into the grinder, slide down the chute and grind your beans. It's going to weigh those out once again. Make sure the burrs are at the correct setting and grind your beans. From there, you can obviously do any distribution, tamping, whatever it is you want to do, but you've got yourself some lovely, fluffy espresso coffee ready to go. Now, of course, if you're a busy cafe, there is a feature that you may like very much. If you hold this little square here, it takes you into a slightly different mode where it will weigh the beans and then wait for you to be ready and then grind. So you've got your 21 grams of coffee loaded, ready to go, and sitting in the chamber on the scale, you've got 21 grams exactly, and then as soon as you're ready to make your coffee, and then as it's grinding those beans, it's loading the chamber with another 21 grams of coffee ready to go. So that's my quick overview of the Sanremo X1, and I'm in love with it. But I know what you want to hear is the price. Now here in Australia, the Sanremo X1 goes for a whopping $14,000. That's right, you heard it right, $14,000. But when you think about it, in comparison to two grind by weights and a Malconic, it actually doesn't work out to be that expensive. It takes up less bench space, it looks much better than anything I've ever seen, and of course, it has connectivity. So if you have the correct coffee machine, your grinder speaks to it, and back and forth. So you can build profiles built off your espresso machine, built into the grinder, back and forth, but that's something we're going to talk about another day if we get a chance. Now, speaking of coffee machines, we have something here. That's right, the Sanremo U is back. Now there is a reason both of these machines are here, and that's because Sanremo is the major sponsor of the Barista Games, which is launching right here next week on the Mitch Does Coffee YouTube channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button and tune into the craziest, never been done before barista competition. But for now, I'm gonna say thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day and happy brewing.